whenever you're ready. So welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy spring. Now officially spring, passing the equinox. And my thought for you, since we are now officially in that spring energy and our brains tend to go as the weather gets nicer and that we've been, kind of stuck inside for what seems like a million years, is that the desire is to just go in all directions, right? So we take that concept of spring renewal and it can send us into what is more referred to as spring fever, spring crazy, right? And what I've been thinking is it's got me thinking very much about the Vayus, right? The Vayus are the word, right? Actually means wind, so it translates to wind. But the Vayus are the different ways that your pranic energy moves. So it's all the same prana, just like you can say the wind is the same as the air that's just sitting in the atmosphere, but we call it wind when it is in motion, when it's transformational, when it's got a direction that is not ubiquitous. So your Vayus are kind of the same thing, right? The pranic body is the pranic body, prana is prana, but when it's moving in a certain kind of direction or in a certain pattern, it gets named for that pattern that it's moving in. And so the thought is that to avoid that situation of things being crazy in all directions, is that we bring our attention to one place, one pattern, one something, to give ourselves that sense of renewal, right? So today we're going to start a little bit with that more in the digestive energy, because Ayurveda and yoga says that if you want to, right, get clear or renew anything in your life, is you start with the digestion. So eyes closed for a moment, comfortable seat if you're not there already. Good. And as you're breathing, let yourself drop into the center of your belly or even deeper down into the bowl of the pelvis so that that whole kind of cavity of the body feels like open space. So the belly gets softer. You're not trying to hold it in. The lower back gets softer. You're not trying to pull it up. You're getting a little lazy in your pelvis is how I've been saying it lately, is you're actually dropping into your sit bones, allowing there to be a little rounding forward or back, not perfectly straight. And that's so that you can actually bring the attention more to the inward movement of energy. So as you're breathing, the belly is expanding and releasing, expanding and softening, pulsation. Then maybe you start to begin mentally inhaling in through your right nostril and out through your left. So mentally, you follow the breath into the right nostril and exhale it out through the left nostril. So it's a continuous circle of breath, inhaling through the right nostril, exhaling out through the left. And then you can take that circle to feel even bigger so that you're imagining as the breath flows through the right nostril, it actually travels through the sinuses all the way down the spine, right? So as it exhales, it's following all the way down the spine and then travels back up on the inhale. So you're pulling the breath in this circle around the body. Again, the inhale is happening, rising up the spine through the right nostril, exhaling out through the left and down the spine. And then take that feeling of circling the breath and start to make it a little smaller and center it right at the belly. So you're still feeling the breath in through the right nostril, out through the left, but you're visualizing that breath as it's moving through your belly, like your digestive system cycling, circling the navel. Good. Samana Vayu. This is the way that the prana moves in your belly, and it moves in this sort of circling. You can imagine it like sort of the recycling symbol because it's your digestion. So it's taking and processing whatever comes into the body, into the pranic field, and it's processing it so that it can be dispersed and used correctly. And if that fire, that cycle is not happening smoothly or completely, then what we take in is not fully processed, which means we have misunderstanding, we have confusion, we have indigestion, disease. So whatever you want to start renewing, start here so that there's clarity around what you are bringing in and what you are then processing back into the world. Work with your digestion, your mind becomes clear. So one more breath in through the right nostril, and as you exhale out through the left, you can release the visualization. Do a little cat-cow with your spine, reaching the heart forward on the inhale, exhaling, rounding into the back of your rib cage and feeling a little pull up of the space just below the ribs. So the upper abdominals drawing in and up. So it's a little subtle Uddiyana Bandha. So as you inhale, you lift and stretch through the front of the belly, heart lifts. And as you exhale, at the end of that exhale, dropping your chin, scoop Uddiyana Bandha up under your ribs, just a little. And then continue like that, inhaling, lifting, and lengthening, exhaling, rounding, and at the end of that exhale, you scoop the upper abdominals up underneath the ribs. Good, rounding into the back is great there because you'll feel it just a little bit more powerfully. But keeping the tone of the abdomen or of the abdominals throughout the practice can be a really useful way of getting in touch again with not only the digestive energy, but the energy of your abdomen in general, right? Your stability to process. So we have to have structure within all of that movement. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Again, finding where you have a relaxed sense of the shoulders being stacked on top of the hips and the top of your head being stacked on top of your shoulders. Usually when you're in that really neutral spine, it feels almost like you're leaning backwards. Good. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. Just for a moment, again, pressing the fingertips together, imagining that circulation of prana. Like your pranic body is sparkling. Then we'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Nice, and let the eyes float open. Good, you guys. Find your way out of your seat and come onto your backs. Lucky you. Or unlucky you, depending. And come onto your backs, bend your knees, please. Plant your feet. Good, feet are hips width apart. And the arms start alongside you, so you're moving in and out of bridge pose. So as you inhale, you're lifting the hips up, lifting the back of the heart, taking your arms up overhead so your hands find the floor above the head. Then as you exhale, you're releasing the hips back down, releasing the arms back down. Good, and move with your breath and make your breath as long as it can possibly get. So don't fling yourself in and out of bridge pose, please, but make it a long inhalation and a long stretch through the body. So keep your feet firmly planted. Balls of the feet stay on the floor. Don't rock back on your heels. Good. So that you're getting this sensation as you rise up. You're filling the body cavity with breath. And as you exhale, you're allowing the body cavity to release that breath. Good. So if you miss that sensation of really filling the body cavity and letting it empty, then you're missing part of this cycle of breath or the cycle of prana that we're meant to naturally have. Good. Keep the weight of your hips moving slightly forward towards your heels. So as you lift up, you're not sliding your weight onto your shoulders, but you're actually using your feet to drag your tail towards your toes. Good. So you keep lengthening the spine using the strength of the legs. Nice, you guys. Good, and it's easy, right? The Vayus being winds is that we can get caught up in any one of them if it's working more powerfully or not in integration with the others. So I like the Samana breath first because this is the center of you. It's where all of the other breaths are going to be circulated and be dispensed and where the processing happens. It's not your brain that does the important work. It's that fundamental energy that is doing the real processing of your life. Your mind just tells you what you think it means. Good. Release the hips back down to the floor. The next time they come down, let them stay there. Beautiful. And then you can keep your arms, take your arms out nice and wide, please, letter T, and then lift your shins parallel to the floor. So your knees are at a 90-degree angle, shins parallel to the floor. If you really want to block between your thighs or your shins here, you can do that. It'll just activate the legs that much more. Good. If you're like, no, thank you, that's fine. Just flex your feet. And you can squeeze the knees together here if you'd like, or a little space is fine, but I want you to stay really steady. If you don't have something that you're squeezing into, is try and keep the relationship between the legs the same. So the amount of space between them stays the same, right? Stable. Good. So knees are right in line with your hips. Good. Drop that lower rib cage down towards the floor, and then you're letting your legs drop towards the right, almost like you're going to come into a spinal twist. But as soon as your left rib cage starts to pull up, that's where you stop. So you're letting your legs go to the right and pressing down through your left side ribs, your left low rib cage. Good. And then using those lower abdominals, come back to center, keep the legs at that 90-degree angle, and then go the other way. Let the knees drop towards the left. Keep pressing down through the right side ribs. Good. Right side low back. Can lift, but keep the middle ribs pressing down. Then come back to center, please. Again, using the abdominals, try not to swing the legs. Go to the right again. Good. Actively pressing down through that left rib cage. This is the idea, is you're not only working the abdominals here, but the back muscles as well. Come back to center. Good. And then drop the knees towards the left. Keep the feet flexed. Keep the legs really awake. So again, if you're not using a block, try and keep the same distance between them. And then come back up to center one more time to the right. Good. And then come back to center and one more time to the left. Keeping your low ribs dropping down, keeping your jaw from clenching. Good. Come back to center, please. Nice job. You can release the block, hug the knees in towards your chest. Awesome. And then curl your shoulders off of the floor, bring your forehead up to meet your knees. So squeeze, 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 and then hollow your belly. So you're staying in that little ball, but then hollow your belly away from your thighs and try and press the back of your rib cage down towards the floor. Good. And your low back down towards the floor. So you're trying to find as much of your back that still has connection to the floor as possible. Hollow the belly. Good. And then relax the shoulders, please. Stretch your legs straight up towards the ceiling. In line with your hips. Again, you might have to move your heels or the tops of your thighs slightly away from your belly to find that 90-degree angle. Arms can be out wide again or just straight alongside the torso, whichever you like. Good. Keep your right leg straight up towards the sky. Take your left leg down towards the floor. So start to extend out through that heel. Bring it down to hover just about an inch above the floor. Right leg stays straight up to the sky. You got it. So it's like a split position. And squeeze both thighs into the center of the pelvis and then take that left leg back up to the sky. Good. Pressing down into the lower belly. Good. Left leg stays up. Take your right leg forward. Good. Keeping the ribs drawn down and that subtle lifting of Uddiyana Bandha. So below the ribs, draw it down towards the floor and up. Good. And then take that right leg back up towards the ceiling. Nice job. Left leg comes down again. Keep your low spine anchored to the floor. So even though you're moving the legs, you're keeping your spine anchored. Squeeze that thigh up and in, and then start to take it back up to the sky. Good. Take the right leg back down. Nice. Your legs are part of your core. So feel that feeling of pulling your thigh up into your low belly. Good. And then pressing down into the sacrum, bringing that leg back up. One more time, left leg down. So you should have done this at least 3 times on each side. If you're moving faster than me, that's fine. Good. Drawing into the low belly, take that leg back up to the sky. And then one more time, right leg comes down. Keep your shoulders dropping. Keep the low rib cage drawing wide. And then take that leg back up to the sky. Really good, you guys. Awesome. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Good. Take your knees wide. Come into happy baby. Good. So the energy of the digestion, it's a little simplistic to say that if we just do breath of fire, that somehow that will balance that center. And sometimes that's what we do, is we say breath of fire is great during this time of year because it helps to stimulate that fiery energy. It helps to move whatever has been stagnant. It helps to reset some of the pattern there, clears the mind because it's clearing the energy of the belly. But what also works, instead of just that strong pumping, is really concentrated, directed energy. Right? We call that the tapas energy. That fire that is directed in a specific way or to a specific place steadies you. Hug the knees back in towards your chest, please. Squeeze. Good. And then lift the shoulders back up. Take your forehead towards your knees. Round, round, round. Beautiful. And then start to roll forward and back on your spine, curled into that little ball. Good. Try not to do it so much from your hips, but do it more from your abdominals. I know, I saw that, all of you. And then come up to try and balance on your sit bones, little baby boat pose, lift those shins. Same energy in your feet as you had before. So keep those knees pulling in towards your chest, keep them bent, lift your chest higher. Good, now stretch your arms out straight like you're reaching for something beyond your toes, and try and pull your knees in towards your chest and reach beyond your toes, balancing on your sit bones. I know. Good. And then go ahead, start to straighten the legs, leaning back just a little bit. So you're taking that boat pose into a much broader angle. So you're leaning back, and then pull your knees in towards your chest and lift your chest up towards your knees. Pull in, squeeze. This is big abdominal work, I know. And then extend back out, legs straight in any amount, dropping into that wider angle. One more time, pull your knees in, lift your chest, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hollow that belly. Nice, feet to the floor, please. Good. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Deep breath in, exhale, audible sigh, make some sort of sound for yourself. Good, jazz fingers are good too. And then with straight legs, flex the feet, take the arms up to the sky. Beautiful, press down through your seat, bow forward, forward fold. Yeah. So to me, this is a really useful way of working the samana energy, or the energy of your navel, is not just to say that I need to pump it like a fire, but that it needs to be cultivated, it needs to be stoked, it needs to be given direction if it's gone out of control, right? Or if it's been without direction. So having a clarity to your ability to access that fire center, it's really important. Walk yourself back up, please. Good, bend your knees, plant your feet. Take your hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels, get a little bend to the elbows here. And then as you lift your chest, press into your feet, lift your hips up as well, come into reverse table. Good, and I invite you to keep a little bend in your elbows so that you're really encouraging yourself to do the work in your upper back. So hug the upper arms towards each other, shoulder blades come together like they're lifting the back of your heart. Press into your feet, balls of the feet anchored to the floor. Yeah, nice, Carolina. Good, and then release the hips back down, please. Nice job, good. Come to sit, bottoms of the feet together, let your knees go wide. Take your arms out wide, letter T. Cross the right arm over top of the left in front of your chest, wrapping the forearms, eagle arms. Good, do a little circling with the elbows. Nice. And then coming to stillness, inhale, lift the elbows up a little higher as you squeeze your armpits back. And then as you exhale, round forward, bring the elbows in towards your belly, round into the back body, draw the shoulders away from your ears. That's it, yep, nice, Mark. And then come back up to the center, stretch the arms up one more time, lift the elbows a little higher. Good, so arms are still wrapped in eagle, sorry, if that wasn't clear. Just lift the elbows again a little higher. And then one more time, exhale, bring them down and in towards the belly. Nice, shoulders down away from your ears, back of your throat lifts up. Nice, Sandy. And then slowly come all the way out. Now you can extend the arms all the way out. Good, and then cross the other arm on top. Left arm over top of right, wrapping the forearms. Good. And again, do little circles with the elbows so that you're moving the shoulders. Nice. Again, the sensation of things circulating is huge. And if there's parts of our body where circulation is not occurring, right, this is not specific to Samana Vayu, it's a little bit more of Vyana Vayu, sorry, the one where the energy is actually coming from the center all the way out to the periphery and then back in. Again, we want there to be the ability to fully process. Come back to stillness, please. Lift those elbows a little higher, squeezing the armpits back. And then exhale, draw the elbows down in towards the belly, round into your back. Good, nice, Joanne. Really pull up through the back of your rib cage. Beautiful. And then back up to center, please. Keep the arms wrapped. Lift the elbows just one more time, a little higher, stretching through the upper back. And then exhaling, bringing the elbows down and in towards the belly, rounding the back, round, round, round. Good. And then come all the way back up, releasing the arms out. Beautiful. Take a forward fold over the legs, Baddha Konasana. And letting yourself, again, be a little lazy in your pelvis. So that means actually dropping into the sensation, the heaviness of your pelvis. Good. And then maybe using a little bit more of the lower abdominals, middle abdominals to pull your spine a little longer. So it's not coming from this tensing of the back, but it's coming from the engagement of the belly. See what that feels like to draw the navel in and up in this position and then release it down. So you can actually feel the weight as it drops back into your pelvis. And you can feel it maybe lift up a little bit off of your pelvis as you engage the abdominals. And if you feel nothing of that sort happening, at least you have time for your lower back and your hips to open. Entertaining yourself. Good. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Nice. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Good. Then stretch your right arm out wide to the right. And slide that arm behind your left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze. Walk the left arm forward towards the top of your mat. Thread the needle. Good. So we start with the digestion because it's where our real comprehension occurs chronically, as well as in your body. But even just that concept that there is a center place in you where all other sensations or information or experience is going to arrive back at is big, right? Because we talk about that, finding your center. Well, what does that mean? The place where everything starts to connect to itself, connects to a wholeness that is bigger than the sum of all the parts. Come all the way back up to hands and knees. Good. Take the same stretch on the other side. Left arm goes out and wide, then slide behind the right wrist. Shoulder finds the floor. Walk the right arm towards the top of your mat. Right, so this idea with the Vayus is that you're taking prana, which is as big as everything, and breaking it down into different things that it does or different ways that it moves. And you can't fully understand the whole experience of prana from any one of the Vayus. And even if you add them all up, you're going to say, but there's so much more to prana than just these 5 ways that things move. So there's 5 of them. And so any of our yogic experiences are the same, is that what you can interpret as an experience, what you can digest as an experience, all of those bits and pieces are never going to add up to the whole. You can only experience the whole as the whole, to the center that everything comes back to. Unwind yourself, come back to hands and knees. Good. Downward facing dog, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Good. Then take your right ankle over top of your left thigh, please. So like you're doing a number 4 in down dog, and then bend your left knee. Good. As that knee bends, you're pulling the thigh forward and pulling your hips back like you're going to drop your butt onto your left heel. Good. Nice. Pull the arm bones up into the shoulder socket so your chest is still lifting towards the top of your mat, staying nice and wide. Yeah. Don't let that right hip fall lower, everybody. Hike that right hip higher to the right. Yup. There you go, Sarah. Good. And then start to straighten your left leg. Take your right leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Nice. And then right foot steps forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Nice, you guys. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. I'm just watching Kristen try not to kick her dog. Good. Beautiful, you guys. Bend your back knee a lot. As your back knee bends, pull that thigh forward and squeeze that right hip back in space. Yeah. Beautiful. One more breath like that, squeezing the legs. Nice. And now maintain that feeling of squeezing your feet, but stretch that left thigh back to straight. So come back to the high lunge, back thigh straight. Good. And then interlace your fingers back behind you. Nice long side body. As you exhale, bring the shoulders inside the front knee, bow forward. Good. Taking the arms up and over any amount, but squeezing the feet towards each other so that as you come forward, maybe you even curl into your belly a little bit more, like you have the intention of literally bringing your head down to the floor. Good. You're squeezing that right hip in and you're hugging your feet. Beautiful. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. If your attention went to your head going to the floor, that's enough, right? Even if your head didn't get there. Walk your fingertips straight ahead. Step up, standing split. Left thigh parallels the floor. Use blocks underneath the hands here if you'd like. Good. So you're flexing that foot. Bend the knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. And then lift your thigh higher. So kick that knee higher. Good. And then you're scooping into the low place of your belly up under your ribs. And now keep that thigh just as high and extend it back to straight. There you go. And then bend the knee again, kick your heel in towards your butt. Lift that thigh just a little bit higher. Again, lifting through that low place of your belly and then extend that leg back to straight. Let your chest drop as much as it needs to. One more time, bend that knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Lift the thigh a little higher. Good. And then keep it that high, extend the leg back to straight. Don't let your left hip drop lower than your right. Beautiful. One more breath. Drop the chest towards the front shin. Yes. Good. And then step your left foot forward alongside your right, standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Good. Feet underneath the hips or just slightly wider. Bend your knees, walk your hands up onto your thighs. So you're in like a chair pose, sort of wider chair pose with your hands on your thighs. Deep breath in. As you exhale, the end of the exhale, round your back, pull that navel in and up. Pause with no breath, and then pump the navel in and out. So no breath. This is Agnisara. Good. And then inhale, lift the chest, deep breath in. And as you exhale, the end of the exhale, round into the back. And again, pause with no breath, pump the navel in and out. And do it with this feeling that you are really moving the abdominal muscles. You're not just frantically moving. Good. Inhale, lift the chest again, deep breath in, stretching through the belly. And then exhale one more time, round into the back. The end of the exhale, no breath, pump the navel. Make sure you finish the exhale before you go straight into that pumping. Good. And then inhale the breath, lift the chest. And then as you exhale, release the hands down to the floor, straighten the legs, forward fold. Nice job. Step your feet back to downward facing dog. Good. Left ankle crosses over top of right thigh. Good. Bend your right knee. Bring that thigh forward. Take your butt back towards your heel. So again, like you're doing that figure 4 stretch. Good. So Mark, it looks like your foot is behind your knee. Make sure it's in front, unless I just am not seeing it correctly. There you go. Good. Flex both feet or flex the foot that's crossed. There you go. Butt goes back. Pull your arms up into your shoulder socket. Yeah. Nice, Sarah. Good, Andy. Nice, Harriet. Good. Bend that right knee a little bit more, you guys. Good, Kristen. Lift that left low belly higher. Yep. And then slowly straighten the right leg. Take your left leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Beautiful. And then step the left foot forward between the hands. Lunge. Good. Inhale both arms to the sky. High lunge. Then bend your back knee a lot. And as your back knee bends, squeeze that right thigh forward. Outer left hip spins back. A little drawing up of your hip point. So again, below the belly button starts to rise up and feel it connect to that place below your rib cage. So Uddiyana Bandha connects to the lower belly. Good. And then keep that squeeze of the feet, but start to stretch your right leg back to straight. Good. So your lunge is just as powerful as when you had both knees bent. Take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. Good. Side body stays nice and long, chest is open. And then bow inside the front thigh. On an exhale, take the arms up and over any amount and really get into this possible intention of letting your head come down to the floor. So you're squeezing the feet towards each other. You're allowing your hips to descend. Good. You're maybe rounding into places in your abdomen. Nice, Joanne. Nice, Laura. Beautiful. And then release the hands down to the floor. Really good, you guys. Walk your hands straight forward, please. Use blocks if you'd like. Step up to standing split. Right thigh parallels the floor. Good. So the right toes are turned down towards the floor. You got it. And then bend that knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Lift the thigh just a little bit higher, pressing up through the heel. Good. And then keep it lifted just that high and extend the leg out to straight. So a little hamstring work, press out. Good. And then bend the knee again, squeeze it in. Lift that thigh a little higher, again, curling into the low part of your belly to keep your sacrum really supported. And then extend out through that heel again, straighten the leg. Good. And then one more time, bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Lift that thigh higher, keeping the hip facing down towards the floor. Good. Navel involved. And then extend that leg back to straight. Beautiful. And then keep it lifted just as high. Drop your chest towards your left shin, any amount, and walking your hands backwards, maybe towards that ankle. Nice, Carolina. Good. Nice, Laura. Awesome, you guys. And then releasing the hands back to the floor, please. Step your right foot forward alongside your left, standing forward fold. Good. Separate your feet as wide as your mat. Turn your toes out 45 degrees. Come down, squat. And if a full squat's not happening right now, you can place a block underneath your seat, blanket underneath your heels, or stay in a higher squat if you need. Good. Right hand touches down to the floor inside your right shin. Take your left arm up to the sky. Good. Hollow into your belly here. Drop your seat. Nice. And then release and switch. Take the left hand down inside the left shin. Right arm to the sky. Again, rib cage softening back. Drop your seat. Good. Release that hand down to the floor with both hands on the floor. Round into your back. So round into your rib cage. And with that roundness, the fullness of your sacrum, drop your seat a little more and really widen those knees. Or widen the thighs and squeeze the knees towards each other, either one. Good. And then go ahead and start to straighten the legs, please. Turning your toes forward, standing forward fold. Nice. Heel toe your feet a little closer if they're wider than your hips. And then plant your hands, step or jump yourself back to plank. Extra bonus points if you jump. Good. Lower down slow to your belly, coming through knees first if you need. And then rising up into cobra, imagining that the whole point of the pose is to stretch your belly, nothing to do with your back. But can you rise up into cobra feeling that you are stretching your belly? So you want the legs to be really long and heavy so that the lower belly has an anchor, and then you're really reaching through the front of your body. Chest nice and high, armpits pull back. Yeah, and then release all the way back down. Nice job, downward facing dog. Good. Nice, you guys. Step the right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Okay, take your back heel flat to the floor. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Good. And then you're taking the right forearm onto the front thigh. Take the left arm over the ear, side angle. Yeah. Keeping the squeeze of your feet. So keep squeezing the feet towards each other. And because you're squeezing the feet, you can allow the thighs to pull away, right? The feet become a really strong anchor for the thighs to separate. Go ahead, draw your rib cage back in space, almost like you're falling into a wall behind you. Nice. And then bring the left hand to your left hip, please. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Slide that right hand forward beyond the toes of your foot. You can use a block if you'd like. Ardha Chandrasana. So as you lean forward, good. Take the left hip on top of the right, turning the left toes to the side. Good. So you're opening the pelvis to the side, and that means you have to really pull up through that right hip. You have to pull up through the right side of your belly. Good. So squeeze that right butt cheek in towards the midline of your mat. Don't let it roll open. Draw it in. Good. Left arm can come all the way up to the sky here if you'd like, or keep the hand at your hip. Flex the feet. Good. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Yeah, as you squeeze the feet towards each other, feel your pelvis pull up towards the sky. Good. One more breath. Pull everything in towards that imaginary center. Arms, legs, ribs, pelvis, all of it. Pull in. Nice. And then release, stepping all the way back to warrior two. So as you drop that foot, not onto a dog, cartwheel the arms back up to warrior two. Nice, you guys. And then take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers, please. Good. Nice long spine, squeeze the upper arms, lengthen the arms, and then turn your shoulders towards the top of your mat. Keep your back heel rooted. Bow inside your front thigh, take your arms up and over any amount, and try to, again, imagine that you're just going to bring your head down to the floor. So again, you're engaging with this energy that is both very powerful energetically, but that also, when purposefully used, creates a lot of strength. Right? So your ability to access samana, that fiery energy in you, this is it. Right? It's not just the movement up or down or sideways or whatever. It's, can you access it? Do you have enough of it available? Good. Release the hands down to the floor, both hands inside the front foot. Good. Walk to your left until you come to the center of your mat. Take your legs to straight, turn the toes. Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. A little hug of the legs towards each other. Nice. And then begin to take your right hand towards your left ankle. And if holding onto the ankle here feels like it's a little too extreme, you can just have the hand anywhere to the left of center, right? It's fine. And then right hand can come to your lower back or can extend up to the sky. I am going to offer you breath of fire here. So if having your arm all the way up in the twist feels like it's just too much. So you're basically twisting right hand towards your left ankle. Good. And again, if holding the ankle doesn't feel steady, you're keeping the hand on the floor or a block just slightly left of center. Good. And then if you'd like to come into breath of fire here, or Kapalabhati would be another option. Breath of fire, you inhale the breath, exhale all the way out, sip in a little bit of breath, and then begin to pump your navel in and out. Good. The alternative is Kapalabhati, where that same sip in of breath, you just begin to exhale, 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 exhale. Exhale, exhale. So either one is very effective. The exhale in Kapalabhati is still the navel, drawing in and releasing. Draw in on the exhale, release on the inhale. Good. So either one, either just the exhale concentrated or in and out. Good. Nice. Take a deep inhale, breath in. Pause and hold, lengthening the spine. And then as you exhale, release the hands down to the floor, come back to center. Pause for a moment. Good. And then walk back towards the top of your mat, please. Turn your right toes forward, spin your left heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Lower down slow, come through knees first if you'd like, all the way down to the belly. And rising up to cobra, again, with the feeling that you are stretching the belly. So it's less about what you're doing to your back bend. It's more about, can I just get super long through my belly? Because if the abdominal muscles are not also given an opportunity to stretch, then when we work them, they get shorter, they get more contracted, and then they are less available. Good. Slowly release, please. Press back to downward facing dog. Nice. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Take the arms up to warrior two. Shoulders over your hips. Arms wide. Good. Palms facing down, but inner elbows just a little bit soft. So if you are like me, and if you take your arms all the way to straight, your arms do a little backwards twist through your elbows. So I want you to soften your elbows, bend your elbows just a little bit so that you can really feel this sensation of trying to draw your inner armpits back and wide and see what that does to your arms. Good. And then try and turn that big toe or big finger, thumb, down towards the floor. So you're rotating the forearm slightly in, and then just stretch straight out right to left. So you're not even trying to straighten your arms. You're just reaching through your fingertips. Again, that's the Vyana mudra, or Vyana Vayu, sorry. Palms facing down to the floor though, Mark. Yeah, so it's a subtle rotating in, not a complete. Good. Take your left forearm onto your front thigh. Take your right arm over the ear, side angle. Nice. Keeping your lines really fluid in your poses. Again, samana energy, or that sun energy, the digestive energies, it's always cycling. It's very much not about there being a destination, because the destination is just center. It's just always moving. So we practice that in our poses, right? Not going into those straight lines so harsh, right? So that there is a channel that is free and available for energy to move, not just in one direction, but many directions. Good. Right hand comes to your right hip. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Take your left hand down beyond the toes of the front foot, and then step up to Ardha Chandrasana. Again, you can use a block underneath that hand if you'd like. So you're taking the right hip on top of the left. Make sure you are pressing down through that left foot, so that when you suddenly are making it the support of your whole lower body, it's prepared to do that. Good. Lift up through that left thigh. Pull it up in towards your pelvis. Good. And rotate that left butt cheek. Pull that thigh crease back and around. So it's going to feel like you're swinging that right toes, those right toes slightly forward towards your belly. Nice. Right arm can go to the sky if you'd like, or it can stay at the hip. Nice. Rib cage draws in. Pull everything in towards that center. Both legs, both arms, ribs, pelvis. Beautiful. And then go ahead and step all the way back to warrior two. So set that foot back down and immediately steady yourself. Come straight back to that warrior position. Good. Again, without locked elbows. Nice. Take your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Still don't lock your elbows as you hug the arms towards each other and stretch your arms towards straight, but don't let your elbows do that turning in and hyperextending. Bend them slightly and keep the inner elbows wide. And then start to turn your chest towards the front of your mat, shoulders towards the front of your mat, and then bow inside the front knee, taking the arms up and over any amount. Good. Again, that subtle bend to the elbows and that drawing in of the forearms means that you're going to have a better chance of accessing your upper back and shoulders, and not just having all of the force go into a locked joint. Good. Really nice, Andy. Nice, Harriet. Let your knee go a little deeper into the lunge so that you drop your shoulders deeper, so you drop your head deeper. Yeah. Nice, Joanne. Release the hands down to the floor. Place both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your right until you come to the center of your mat. Wide legs, turn the toes. Good. Relax for a moment. Again, if your knees are so engaged, your legs are so engaged that it feels like they are made of cement, bend your knees. As you bend your knees, get lazy in your pelvis, drop. Feel the thigh bones pull up into the hip socket. And then as you re-straighten the legs, do it from your lower belly. Good, so the legs are awake, but they're not tense. They're not stuck. There's room for circulation. And if there's room for circulation, there's room for contemplation. There's room for digestion. There's room for processing. It's not just your mind that processes, it's your whole body, every cell processes the experience of being alive. So the prana is not just moving in samana energy just at the belly. That's where it's concentrated, but it's every cell being able to process. Good. Start to bring the right hand towards your left ankle. Is that correct? No, other way. I think it's right hand to your left ankle is the second side for the twist. No, I'm wrong, because I said left of center before, so you want to be going to the right. So it's left hand to right ankle. There you go. And if holding the ankle doesn't work, then again, a hand to the floor or a block slightly to the right of center. And then right hand comes to your lower back or arm to the sky. Again, the choice here is either no pranayama at all, just breathe in the twist, or breath of fire, pumping the navel in and out, or Kapalabhati, exhaling actively and allowing the inhale to happen. So make your choice. Again, you're starting with a little bit of a half breath, and then begin to either pump the navel in and out, or begin to exhale, 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 pulling the navel in with each exhale. Whatever breath you choose, stay nice and relaxed around it. So the navel is moving, but your shoulders are not tensing. Your navel is moving, but your legs are not locking. Your navel is moving, but your mind is not freaking out. If it is, change your breath. Good. There's a rhythm here. This is the point, is to awaken your connection to the rhythm of your breath, but also to just be coordinated with your ability to access your navel. Because during the day, many of us never do. We don't use our abdominals consciously. Deep breath in, pause and hold at the top of the breath. And then as you exhale, slowly release both hands down to the floor. Walk yourself back to center. Good. Move towards the top of your mat again. Left toes turn forward. Spin the right heel up. Step back to downward facing dog. And then drop the knees to the floor, please, and come into child's pose. Yeah, if you're a little high from doing breath of fire while upside down, you're welcome. I don't know if that's an apology or I don't know what that means. Child's pose, please. And feel the breath at the back of the lower spine, back of the ribs. Right, renewal, or the beginning of anything, because spring is that time where we are dissolving, fully dissolving what was old from the winter or from the previous cycle. And we're composting it, right? Thich Nhat Hanh says this. He says, compost your emotions, compost your thoughts. So you're not getting rid of them, but you're using them as the fuel or the medium for you to be able to recreate, reform, rejuvenate. And your breath, your prana is always in that cycle, because all of those thoughts, all of those emotions, all of that stuff is prana, cycles. So anything that you want to renew is the best place to begin, is how the energy is circulating in you, how your digestion is acting. How are you able to process what has come before that you're starting with now as your fuel for renewal? Because otherwise we just build upon whatever was there before, and that foundation is one that was already a little sticky, a little tired, a little whatever it was, unstable, less aware. Good. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Nice. Come back to downward facing dog. Good. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down, dog split. Good. And then bring the knee forward and wide for pigeon pose, right knee towards the right wrist. Good. Turning that outer left hip slightly forward so that your right low belly has the chance to go wide. And then go ahead and once you've set your pelvis, walk yourself forward. And before you settle completely, give yourself a little walk over to the right. You're walking the shoulders over to the right, so you're feeling stretched through the side body. Good, and then come back to center and do a little walk to your left. You come back to center and then just be where you want to be. So maybe it's straight ahead. Maybe you liked one of those directions and you want to turn your shoulders back to the one that felt really opening. Good. Maintain that feeling of circulation. Following the breath, following the prana as it cycles. I enjoy that the samana breath is considered, it's the sun, right? It's your inner sun, the digestive fire, the sun. So we started that breathing practice, right nostril in with the inhale, out through the left, because that's going to stimulate more powerfully the sun energy, the heating energy, that aspect of prana. And it is both creative as well as destructive, just like the sun. So it's all in how you apply it. So what we learn is to be conscious enough of your prana to let it move the way that it naturally, innately is designed to move. But then you apply it skillfully. You use it to accomplish what your life needs and wants you to accomplish, or what brings you joy. When we don't have this connection, we have lack of clarity, tiredness, overwhelm. Start to walk yourself back in, please. You plant the hands to the floor, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. And then if you can, keep that leg lifted as you slide your shoulders forward to plank pose. So a one-legged plank, you're going to drop that leg in line with your hip. So don't try and keep it as high as you did in down dog. So a one-legged plank. And then if you can, keep those toes lifted as you lower all the way down to your belly. And then if you can, point the left toes back behind you, rise up to cobra with your right toes up off the floor, still stretching your belly. And then if you can, tuck your left toes again, come back to down dog split without ever putting the right toes down to the floor. That's if you can. You can always modify that. Awesome. And then release that right foot down, both feet to the floor. Good. Pedal your feet, wiggle your hips in down dog. Good. And we are coming into pigeon on the other side, Andy. So if you want to stay on your back, you can, as you just finally got up. Good. And then take the left leg up and back behind you, please. Down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward and wide. Pigeon pose on the other side. Left knee towards left wrist. Good. Left low belly pulls up and wide. Outer right hip begins to soften forward. Good. And then go ahead and walk yourself forward onto your forearms or fingertips. But before you settle completely, do a little walk to the left. Shoulders to the left, upper body to the left. Breathe into your side waist, side ribs, hip, thigh. Good, and then walk back towards center, please. Take that walk over to the right. Good. And then walk yourself back to center, please, and let yourself drop down into that forward fold, whatever position feels the happiest to you, either straight ahead, or if you liked one of those side leaning positions, you could go for that too. Keeping the front foot awake. So again, there's energy, movement, there's opportunity for circulation to maintain itself through that front knee. Good, and of course, if you're doing pigeon on your back, make sure your feet are flexed. Beginning in one place, even if it is not Samana Vayu or it's not your digestion that seems to be calling you the most, but to begin your process of renewal from one place. Don't try and do it from 3,000 places. Choose one part of your life, one part of yourself, one pattern, and work with that. When we start to bring the mind into that state of focus, and we start to really understand the full extent of any one part of ourselves, any one thing, one piece of this experience, that we find out a lot about a lot of other things, right? It doesn't stay just in the context of whatever we started looking at. So your ability to digest, process, to take all of the pieces that are interconnected and not remove, but absorb what is really beneficial. And allow yourself to release, let go of, unattach from what just happened to be along for the ride. We call this digestion. We absorb and we eliminate. call it processing. We absorb and then we transform. Evolve if you'd like. Start to walk yourself back up onto your hands. Good. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then take your left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. And then if you can, keep that leg lifted, slide the armpits forward over the wrist. So a one-legged plank pose. Let the left leg drop in line with your hip, but keep it as straight as you can. So keep extending out through that leg. So again, low belly's got to do some work there. Good. And then if you can, keep that leg lifted as you lower all the way down to your belly. It does not have to be high off the floor, but try to keep that feeling of lift. And then rise up to cobra, pointing the right toes back behind you, but keep the left toes lifted. Good. And then release the shoulders, tuck the right toes again, press back downward facing dog with the left leg lifted, down dog split. Nice, Carolina. Good, Joanne. Really good, everybody. Good. And then release that left foot down, downward facing dog, pedal the feet, wiggle your hips. Nice. And then come back to stillness, please. Drop the knees down to the floor. Good. Come up to a high kneeling position for camel pose. If you want a block for between the thighs, you can grab a block. If you want 2 blocks back behind you to reach for the blocks instead of your feet, you can also do that. You know, so if you have 6 blocks hanging around at home, you can do all sorts of things. Good. But a block between the thighs is nice, or place 1 block beside the outer edge of each foot. So you're in a kneeling position. Those are your 2 options for blocks. So if you have the blocks behind you, don't reach for them right away. Come all the way up to a nice long high kneeling position, and then bring your hands back behind your head. Good. Elbows squeeze in just a little bit. Chin is neutral. Press your head back into your hands. So the elbows stay with that little bit of a squeeze so that your shoulders are more engaged. You can see if I shrug my shoulders up, or I can pull them down. So pull your shoulders down and squeeze those elbows in. Good. And then again, soften your front rib cage and feel from below your belly button, start to draw up towards the space at the lower place of your rib cage. And then from under your rib cage, draw that point in and up under your ribs so that you get so super tall through your spine because your abdominals are pulling up. Good. And you're pressing into your shins. Now start to hinge back. So maintain that alignment of the abdominals, squeezing in, and start to lean back towards camel. Good. Take your thighs with you so you're not just pushing your hips forward. And then lift the chest. So again, like you're stretching your belly, take your sternum to the sky, like you're doing cobra, but freestanding in the air. Nice. And then go ahead and take the hands reaching back towards your feet or the blocks if you'd like, or keep your hands behind your head. Good. Toes can always be tucked under as well. So it brings your heels a little higher away from the floor. Good. Don't lose your abdominals, please. Keep that feeling of drawing up through the abdominals, below your belly button, up under your ribs. Beautiful. And then slowly, again, navel folding into the spine. Come all the way back up. You can hug that block between the thighs. Nice. And then release the block off to the side. Drop your hips back towards your heels, forehead to the floor. Round your back. Good. You can make a pillow with your hands or reach your hands back for your ankles or your feet. Or again, if you're sitting upright, just get lazy in your pelvis. Good. And then slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice. Come to sit on your butt. Take your legs out in front of you. The right leg stays extended. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Let your knee go wide. Then inhale the arms up to the sky. A little twist to your right and bow over the right thigh. You got it, Janu Shirshasana. Good. You're turning the left rib cage, turning the left side belly forward as you draw the right side belly and ribs wide. And continue to feel not just the muscles of your body operating in the poses, but can you feel the circulation of your breath? Can you feel some subtle sense of there being movement that is allowed beneath the surface of the skin, beneath the surface of the muscle? Good. Start to take your hands to the outside edge of that right foot. So left hand to the outside edge of your right foot or your shin. Good. Continue to lean forward into the forward fold. Bring your right hand to your sacrum, right hand to your lower back, and start to twist open to the right. So as you twist, you're pressing your sacrum back into your hands. You're hollowing your low belly, pulling that belly away from your thigh, and then lifting the right shoulder up, but then leaning forward through your left side body. Good. So be serious about the twist, but also serious about the forward fold. Throat draws back. Nice, Mark. Nice, Kristen. Good, Sarah. Good, Laura. Good. Fold back over that right thigh, please. Come straight ahead. And then slowly unwind. Come all the way back up to center. Beautiful. And then switch. So the left leg comes forward. Right knee pulls in, bottom of the foot to the inside of the left leg. Knee wide. Take the arms up to the sky. Take a little twist to your right, and then bow over the extended leg. Good. So if the back is tight, if the belly is tight, if there's a lack of mobility in the trunk, then that samana energy is going to be diminished. So it's not just, can we stoke the fire, stoke the fire, stoke the fire? It's, can we also clean the fireplace? Can we also clear all of those vents and pathways for that energy that as it is dispersing, as we're absorbing and dispersing, that there is room for that to move? So we start to bring clarity back to our senses, back to our mind. And then whatever you are growing in your life, you can do much more efficiently, much more attention. Start to move your hands towards the outside edge of your shin. So the right hand is reaching for the outer edge of your shin or thigh or ankle, wherever you are reaching on the leg. Left hand comes to your lower back. My suggestion is palm flat so that you have something to press into. So press the sacrum back into your hand and then start to twist open to the left. And as you twist, again, you're twisting from your belly. You're not just moving your shoulders, but it's actually the abdominals drawing back. Good. And that right side twists forward as the left side draws wide. And then keep leaning forward like you're still taking that right hand beyond your toes, all the way to the foot, all the way to the ankle. Throat draws back. Drop the chin, neutral. Nice, Mark. Good. Kristen, watch that you don't drop your ear all the way to your shoulder. There you go. Good. Nice, Carolina. Nice, Joanne. Beautiful. Turn your belly back towards your left thigh, please. So straighten out the twist, unwind the twist. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Bend both knees, plant both feet in front of you again. Take your hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Bend the elbows just a little bit. And again, hug those upper arms. And then as you press into your feet, lift your hips up off the floor. Good. Reverse table. Again, stretching the front of the body, stretching the belly, stretching the back. Even here, feel that zipping up of the low below your belly button, drawing up to your ribs drawing all the way up behind your heart. Good. Inner thighs straight up. Nice. Go ahead, Joanne. And then release the hips down to the floor. Nice job. Roll yourself down onto your backs. Don't collapse onto your backs. Good. And then setting the shoulders alongside on the floor, arms alongside you. Take the legs back up to the sky. And then you're pressing down through your arms and using as much as you can just your lower belly. You're curling into your low belly and pointing your feet up at the sky. Try to lift your butt up like you're trying to go into shoulder stand, but just using your low belly. Good. Do that a couple more times. Yeah, try not to let your head crane up off the floor. Do it from your abdominals. It's going to be really frustrating to find out how much you use your shoulders for this. Like I use every muscle except my abdominals. Welcome to the club. Good. It's a curling and a lifting. Nice. 300 more. Or just 3. Awesome. And then if you would like here to come into a full shoulder stand, you are welcome to set the arms into robot arms. Use that same energy of the abdominals to start to take the legs all the way back, to take the hips all the way up, and drawing the navel in, below the navel in. Good. And then through the energy of the thighs, you extend the feet straight up. Press down through the upper arms. Good. Other options are to simply place a block underneath your sacrum in bridge pose, or the block underneath the sacrum and the legs straight up to the sky. If you have a wall, you can also do a supported shoulder stand with your feet on the wall. Nice, you guys. If you are in full shoulder stand, remember that zipping up of the abdominals so that you have this sensation of really pulling the spine long, not because just your back is doing it, but because your abdominals are doing it. Beautiful. Good. If you are in shoulder stand and want to take a moment and plow, go ahead and let the toes come to the floor above the top of your head or your furniture. Totally fine. Rest your feet on your couch. Continue to really lengthen your spine. So even in plow, the hips are pushing up towards the ceiling. Good. And then bring the legs back up to shoulder stand if you'd like, one or both. Both is a little bit more challenging on the navel, on the spine. So make sure you're conscious of the choices you're making. Pull as long as you can. Pull up through your ankles, pull up through your inner thighs, pull your tailbone up to the ceiling. And press through that upper ridge of the shoulders. Good. And then slowly release after that big pull. Roll down the spine one vertebra at a time. Good. Let the feet gently find the floor as you relax the upper shoulders, maybe taking the arms overhead to hold opposite elbows. If you are in some other variation of shoulder stand, on a block or something like that, remove the block from underneath you, knees bent, feet flat, take the arms overhead, hold opposite elbows. Breathe. Breathe as though your breath is expanding from that center place and dissolving back into it. That's Vayana Mudra. Keep saying Mudra. I mean Vayu. Vayana Vayu. Going wide to the extremities and then back to the center. And the center is where you discover Samana. Energy that circulates, digests, processes. Good. Keep the arms where they are, or take the arms straight out wide again. Bring the knees back up to that 90-degree angle that you began class with. So shins parallel to the floor. Don't bother with your block. Good. And then scoot your hips over to the left. Please drop your knees to the right with that same attention with your abdominals. You can bring them all the way over though. Let the twist happen. I just want your abdominals to be supporting your spine. Good. Again, arms can still be overhead here if that feels good, or they can be out wide. Try to keep the knees stacked on top of each other here. So right and left hip point, same line. Good. Using the abdominals, come back to center, please. Shins parallel to the floor. Scoot your hips over to the right. Drop the knees to the left. Again, awareness of the abdominals supporting the spine, so you're not just throwing your knees off to the side. And then come back to center again, using the abdominals. Hug forehead up to meet your knees. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you. Shavasana. Well deserved. Very gently bring your awareness back to the breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. And bringing the hands together in front of the heart center or whatever mudra you prefer that's been working for you. Feel the fingers pressing together, the hands pressing together. Again, circulating the energy that is you. Because we learn in yoga, or we come to understand that it's not just that you have prana, but you are prana. It's not just that you have breath, but that you are breath. And it's that unified awareness that we call enlightenment, or we call it unity, we call it samadhi, when we are fully present in that and nowhere else. So what do? We start with, can I feel the prana at my belly? Because this is where I begin and end my process, or my ability to process this experience, where I can feel the parts and then know myself to be more than the sum of the parts. Start at my belly, my digestion. Clear my body, I clear my mind to be that pure vessel of prana, consciousness. So spring is the great time to begin that, begin that anew. Do it again if you've done it before. Keep doing it every day. That's the practice. So know yourself to be prana, always in motion, but always that vital force that is living, that is life, that is spirit, that is consciousness. We'll close the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Why not?
Thank you.
You're welcome.